Well, hey, it's good to have you joining me. We are beginning chapter 2 here, Pilgrim's Progress in modern English. Christian turned around and headed back, determined to find the right path again. Evangelist gave him a warm smile, kissed him on the cheek, and wished him well. Christian hurried along, refusing to speak with anyone on the way, even if they tried to talk to him. He walked as if he were on forbidden ground, always feeling unsafe, until he got back to the path he had left when he took Mr. Worldly Wise Man's advice. Eventually, Christian reached the gate. Above it, he saw the words, "Knock, and it will be opened to you." So he knocked several times, saying, "Can I come in now? Will the one inside open the door for someone who's failed? An undeserving rebel like me? If so, I will sing your praises forever." After a while, a serious-looking man opened, named Goodwill. He asked Christian who he was, where he came from, and what he wanted. Christian replied, "I'm a poor, burdened sinner. I've come from the city of destruction, and I'm trying to reach Mount Zion to escape the coming judgment. I was told that this gate leads to the right path, so I'm asking if you'll please let me in." Goodwill smiled and said, "Of course, I'm happy to let you in." And with that, he opened the gate. As Christian stepped forward, Goodwill suddenly grabbed him and pulled him in quickly. "Why'd you do that?" Christian asked. Goodwill explained, "There's a strong castle just a little way from this gate. Its captain is Beelzebub, and he and his soldiers shoot arrows at anyone trying to enter, hoping to kill them before they can come in." Christian said, I'm both joyful and a little afraid." Once inside, Goodwill asked Christian who had directed him to this gate. "Evangelist told me to come here and knock, and he said that you would tell me what to do next." Then Goodwill said, "Oh, listen, friend, the door is always open for you, and no one can shut it." Christian smiled. "Now I'm starting to see the reward for all the risk I've taken." Goodwill then asked, "But why did you come alone?" "Because none of my neighbors saw the danger I saw," Christian explained. "Did any of them know you were coming?" asked Goodwill. "Yes," said Christian. "My wife and children saw me leave and called for me to come back. Some of my neighbors also shouted at me to return, but I covered my ears and I kept on running." "Did anyone try to follow you and convince you to turn back?" asked Goodwill. "Yes," Christian replied. "Both obstinate and pliable came after me. When they saw they couldn't change my mind, well, obstinate, he just turned around and went back. He was all mad. Pliable, well, he came with me for a while, but eventually, when things got tough, he gave up and went back home also." "Why didn't Pliable continue with you?" Goodwill asked. "Well, we both made it to, but we fell in. Pliable got discouraged and decided it wasn't worth all this hard work, all these struggles. He climbed out on the side closest to his home, and he told me I could have all this brave country for myself. Then he left, but I kept going alone." Goodwill sighed. "Poor man. Is the glory of heaven really worth so little to him that he wouldn't even endure a few little difficulties to get in?" Christian nodded. "It's true. And to be honest, I'm not much better. I almost turned around and went back myself. And listen, here's another thing I did. I went to the way that leads to death. I was influenced by the arguments of Mr. Worldly Wise Man." So, dear friend, Christian's journey reminds us that the kingdom path is not without missteps and temptations. We all face those. There's always going to be the lure of shortcuts, worldly wisdom, has always got an easier way that's always going to lead us astray. But God waits for us. He waits for us to knock, always ready to welcome us back in with open arms. Getting ourselves back on the right path of seeking first the kingdom of God and His righteousness. When Christian finally turns back, his urgency is unwavering. Did you notice that? He's determined and he's undistracted. Nothing will distract him from getting back to the right path. His eyes are fixed on the gate of promise. See, that is the heart of seeking first the kingdom of God. That's when, it's like when we hit hard times, man, it will change our focus and it can help us become more determined, more resolute in seeking first the kingdom of God, especially when we see how bad things can get when we go the wrong direction. It's interesting. Why did you come alone? Man, that strikes deeply for many of us, because many times, dear friend, you have to understand this. When you do seek first the kingdom of God, sometimes there's going to be people with you, sometimes a group, sometimes someone else. And it's inevitable. So many times we find ourselves alone, walking down this road with no other people, but we still have the Lord there with us. So here's what we have to keep in mind in seeking first the kingdom of God. It's going to cost. It's going to cost. It's going to be hard work. It's going to be hard at times, but it's always worth it. There's no life like the kingdom life. There's nothing like fulfilling our kingdom purpose. Even when it gets hard, the thing about it is, it's always going to get better.